Within a closed university ecosystem, social order is dictated by legacy students using inherited names to command the room. In this environment, status is an aesthetic, a surface-level ranking where the loudest voices assume they are the most powerful. Annalise Thorne is the anomaly in this system. She spends her days in the back of lecture halls, masquerading as a quiet scholarship student. She hides a billion-dollar agricultural inheritance and carries her late father's vintage leather satchel, not for style, but as a mobile archive for the complex soil biochemistry she's been perfecting. Her mirror image is Chris Ian, the student body president. He is the university's golden boy, but his position wasn't bought with a family endowment. He fought his way up from systemic poverty with a perfect SAT score and the grit required to manage the campus's highest office. Their partnership represents an existential threat to the legacy group. By prioritizing brilliance and actual output over family lineage, they suggest that unearned status isn't just unnecessary, it is becoming obsolete. The central conflict is a collision between two different definitions of power, one built on the visibility of wealth, and another grown through years of quiet work and deep-rooted integrity. To prove he is genuinely aligned with her, Annalise puts Chris Ian through a harvest test. She warns him that a weekend at her grandparents' farm means grueling manual labor. He doesn't hesitate, arriving at the farmhouse at 6 a.m. to begin work. In sociology, this is known as costly signaling. While anyone can claim to value hard work, giving up a Saturday morning to haul cedar posts is a signal that cannot be faked. It functions as a filter that a mere status seeker would never pass. Annalise's grandfather, Silas, watches as Chris Ian hammers wire and lets his knuckles scrape for 4 straight hours without complaint. When Silas hands him a canteen at noon, he recognizes the same persistence he sees in his own granddaughter. This shared labor anchors the relationship in the unyielding truth of the land. It provides them with a foundation of mutual trust that their campus rivals simply cannot manufacture. The first strike occurs in the social arena. At a university gala, a student named Vanessa attempts to shame Annalise by projecting leaked photos of her working in the mud at the farm and exposing her hidden billionaire status to paint her as a fraud. Annalise doesn't crumble or try to hide. She tells the room that the mud on her boots is exactly where value is built, by hand, not by bank statements. By owning her narrative, she removes Vanessa's ability to use the truth as a weapon. The conflict escalates to academic warfare when Vanessa uses her access to the dean's office to steal an exam answer key. She plants it in Annalise's father's satchel, planning to tip off the professor mid-test to ensure an immediate expulsion. Because Annalise has a habit of checking her father's bag before every event, she finds the plant early. She doesn't panic. She calls Chris Ian. Together, they pull the security footage of the theft and swap the answer key for a formal integrity report detailing Vanessa's own plan. Annalise lets Vanessa spring the trap in front of the entire class. By letting her opponent overcommit to a public lie, Annalise ensures the consequences are immediate and undeniable, leading to Vanessa's own expulsion. The pressure shifts to the professional arena during the senior capstone presentation. A rival named Julian, whose family owns a chemical conglomerate, hacks the projector feed to display photos from Annalise's parents' funeral, attempting to force an emotional breakdown. Annalise treats the hack as a controlled burn. She lets Julian's cruelty play out until the room turned against him, then uses a backup drive to launch her data. She reveals the result of years of research, a patented soil enzyme that renders Julian's family's fertilizers obsolete, and she announces she has used her capital to secretly buy the controlling shares of their primary distribution company. Julian resorts to a legal ambush, claiming a 1998 deed error means Annalise's family no longer owns their farm. He schedules bulldozers to break ground on a chemical storage facility over her parents' burial site the next morning. This visualization shows the jurisdictional checkmate Annalise had prepared. While Julian relied on easily accessible, digitized 1998 county records, Annalise pulled the original 1865 land grant from her archives. It contains a cemetery protection clause that designates the property a historical sanctuary, making it immune to commercial development under state law. Julian lost because he focused on frictionless data, while Annalise won by digging into the foundational history of the soil. She finishes by informing Julian's lawyer that she bought his firm's debt the day before, and he's fired. The investigation into Julian's family business reaches the university's own books. A final audit proves his father was laundering chemical profits through the university endowment fund, triggering a systemic collapse of their empire. Julian is led away by campus security as his family's legacy is dismantled. At graduation, Annalise and Christian launch the Harvest Foundation. They use the very wealth the elites tried to take to fund full-ride scholarships for students who prioritize hard work and brilliance over social lineage. 1 year later, Julian works as a lowly clerk for a legal aid firm, while Vanessa struggles to sell an authenticity brand that has no roots. Annalise and Christian have stayed on the land, converting the farm into a global research center. The property now represents a unified legacy of tradition and innovation. The eco-friendly Thorne Christian Research Center stands between the old hay barn and the North Pasture, where the soil is being repaired by the very enzyme Annalise spent her college years developing. Inside, a new generation of Harvest scholars is performing the quiet work of testing soil samples. They are being taught that the most effective way to change the world is through patience and actual labor, rather than the loud optics of the elite. Power built on surface appearances is easy to dismantle, but power that is grown, tested, and rooted in years of quiet work is nearly impossible to shake. In the end, the harvest is only as good as what you put into the roots.